Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is going to be the last segment of today's episode. I apologize again, guys. I'm telling you, my laptop is getting from bad to worse. It is really deteriorating. Um, it crashed again. Sorry about that. So definitely today is a playlist day. Yeah, sometimes coffee, sometimes tea. I'm gonna put together a playlist and send out later for my viewers who want to watch the program seamlessly. Yeah, sorry about that. I do apologize. Okay, so I was finishing up with the last story, the last segment of the program for today. Right, I'm trying to finish up, and so I was telling you basically what the Prime Minister had said in the in his 2016 campaign concerning the general election, right? He said at that point in time when he was campaigning in 2016, he said he would implement a fixed election date to bring certainty to the political process. But to date, Prime Minister has not kept his word. And there's a couple of instances where we see where the Prime Minister has not kept his word on things that he has said. If you go back and check his platform that he ran on and see what he said then, and I'm sure you're going to see, because as we get closer to, we're in the silly season, right? And as we get closer to the time when we shall have nominations, you will hear a lot from both the People's National Party, the PNP, and the Jamaica Progressive Party, the JPP, and the other party. I forget the name, and I'll get it for you next time when we meet. That the other party will be running also in the next general election. You're going to hear a lot of this come out because, of course, that's what they're going to be doing. That's what they normally do. You will hear all the dirty secrets, right, of our elected officials during an election season. Yeah. So, anyways, let me give you another story before I give you my international. I wrap up my program every day with international news. Before I get to the international news, there's another local news I must give to you today. So, according to uh, the Jamaica Observer, right? This was in the Jamaica Observer. Montego Bay-based dancehall DJ Rygin King was relocated to an undisclosed medical facility due to security concerns last Thursday after a group of men showed up at Falmouth Hospital in Trelawney and attempted to gain access to him. The Falmouth police, who confirmed the incident, said the men were detained and later released. Quote, after Rygin was shot, someone leaked photos and videos of the artist being wheeled in the operating room at the Savlamar Hospital. We understand and are aware of the media interest, but we thought that it was vital that Rygin was moved from Falmouth to a new secure undisclosed location for security reasons. A member of the DJ's management team who requested anonymity told the Observer. The 25-year-old artist was one of 3 people shot on June 28th in Westmoreland after leaving a funeral in that parish. Sasha Lee Blackwood of Irwin Meadows in St. James was killed in the incident, which basically, his girlfriend. Rygin, who was reportedly shot in the back, the chest, and the leg, was initially admitted to the Savlamar Public General Hospital. According to the management insider, the artist is not out of the woods yet. He still needs prayers, but the doctors have been very professional and they are doing all they can to ensure that he makes a full and speedy recovery. Our prayers are with this artist, Rygin King. As you heard, he has been moved multiple times from where he was originally placed after he was shot, due to the fact that apparently there are persons who are looking to finish the jobs, more than likely. Yeah? However, it was interesting that the report said that those persons who went to the Falmouth Hospital looking for him were held and then released. So that suggests that these are not the persons who are looking to finish the job, right? At least one would hope. That's what that means, right? Yeah. But we're praying for his safety and for his full recovery. Yeah. All right, guys. So, of course, you know that I have to give you some international news. So, let me give you some international news. And since we're on the subject of election, I'm going to give you that one first, talking about election, although I have a sad one to give to you. Or actually, I probably should give you the sad one first, before I give you. I don't like to end on sad notes. I want to end with on an upbeat note, right? So let me give you the sad one first. So, deep floodwaters and the risk of more mudslides that left at least 34 people confirmed or presumed dead hampered search and rescue operations Sunday yesterday in southern Japan, including at an elderly home facility where more than a dozen died and scores were still stranded. Helicopters and boats rescued more people from their homes in Kumamoto region. More than 40,000 defense troops, the Coast Guard, and fire brigades were taking part in the operation. Large areas along the Kuma River were swallowed by floodwaters, with many houses, buildings, and vehicles submerged almost up to their roofs. Mudslides smashed into houses, sending people atop rooftops waving at rescuers. At a flooded elderly care home in Kuma village, where 14 residents were presumed dead after rescuers reached them on Saturday. Rescue continued Sunday for the dozens of remaining residents and caregivers. 65 residents and about 30 caregivers were trapped at the Riverside Care Facility Sunjin when floodwaters and mud gushed in. All remaining 51 residents, including 3 who had hypothermia, had been rescued by boats and taken to hospitals for treatment by Sunday afternoon. Sincere condolences and prayers for the families and friends of those 34 persons who died in that nursing home. Guys, I brought that story because it's always a big issue and a sore point that whenever there's a disaster like a hurricane or a flood, and you always find that the persons in the nursing homes are always the ones who are always mostly affected. You notice that? Always affected because what, they're in the nursing home and they really can't help themselves much. Yeah. And they depend on the caregivers to assist. We need, it's so many times, even when we have hurricane, and you're going to hear more of this as we are, in hurricane season. You notice we're not really hearing much about hurricanes. It was that Sahara dust that came and did what it did for us. It kind of helped to keep the waters calm in terms of not having hurricane developing yet. But we're still in a hurricane season, and it ends November 30th. And so here it is that and we have always heard of situations where there's a hurricane and the nursing homes are flooded, that these persons in the homes, these residents in the homes, usually lose their lives, right? Guys, we implore you to be very mindful of these persons. Consider them. They are vulnerable. They can't help themselves. So don't disappear and leave them behind. Ensure that you help them to vacate the premises. In such cases where you have natural disasters like a flood. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, to continue with the news, I got to give you this one. So in India, India's densely populated cities ordered new restrictions as the confirmed number of COVID-19 cases neared 700,000, passing Russia with the third highest number of infections. More than 697,400 cases have now been recorded, at a rise of 24,000 in a 24-hour period, the health ministry said. While Russia has over 681,000. The surge has forced some cities to tighten their antivirus measures, including the eastern metropolis of Kolkata, which altered flights from other major Indian cities on Monday, which is today, Monday they're referring to. It has set up dozens of containment zones in recent days. A new lockdown was imposed in the capital of southern Kerala state, with public transport shut and only pharmacies allowed to open. While the United States and Brazil have the highest number of cases worldwide, India's tally is expected to keep rising for several more weeks. Experts predict there will be 1 million cases by the end of July in India, guys. So you see, this is not post-COVID-19. As I said, this is not post-COVID. This is a COVID-19 pandemic going on, guys. Here in Jamaica, we are thankful it's not the worst, but based on what we're seeing happening, guys, it has a potential of becoming much worse. You see what's happening overseas? we need to learn to live vicariously. Okay? We don't want to, that every experience we must have, we don't want to have our own experience. We want to live through other people's experience and learn from other people's experiences. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so now finishing up with the whole election saga now. So, it's in the silly season. Elections are occurring all over the world, right? So, closer to home, the Dominican Republic, right? They braved a roaring coronavirus epidemic yesterday, to cast their ballots for a new president and legislature of the Caribbean country. Luis Abinader, the frontrunner in the presidential race, was seeking to end 16 years of unbroken rule by the center-left Dominican Liberation Party, whose candidate Gonzalo Castillo was running second in a six-man field, according to pre-vote polls. However, since then, we have heard that, the gentleman Luis Abinader has won the race, and he has, in fact, ended the 16-year unbroken rule by the center-left Dominican Liberation Party. So Dominican Liberation Party is no more in terms of being the ruling party. And now we have a Dominican Republic, a new president, Luis Abinader. Yeah. Meanwhile, in Trinidad and Tobago, the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, yesterday announced that a general election will be held on August 10th in the Twin Island Republic. Dr. Rowley told Parliament that he had advised President Paula May Weeks to dissolve this Parliament, and that nomination day would be held starting Friday, July 17th. Quote, "I wish all my colleagues a safe, happy, enjoyable, productive campaign, and I look forward to seeing all of them somewhere in Trinidad before the next Parliament," he told legislators. In the last general election, 2015, right? This was 2015 and 2020 now, it's 5 years, because it's every 5 years, like us, every 5 years. They did 2015, they have election now. We did 2016, and we want to have election now. Hello? No, Next year is election, people, 2021. Yeah. So Rawlings led the People's National Movement to a 23-18 victory over the then People's Partnership Administrator of Kamla Persad Bethesda. And just FYI, that they have 8 parties running in the election, guys. 8 parties. We only have 4. They have 8 running in their election. And there's a smaller country than ours, right? And they have a smaller electorate than ours, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they have 8 running. So we will know in August who will be the new Prime Minister of TNT. But we will know next year, Mr. Holness, who is going to be next Prime Minister in Jamaica. No 2020 election, please. Okay, we already know it can't be 2000. It can't be August, but definitely, why should it be? Why not have it January, February next year? That's a better time to have it, right? Mm-hmm. It might be even more successful to curtail and to improve the economy so much so that the people, we're very forgetful people, right? We're very forgetful people, so we might forget all the atrocities that you did this year. I might just vote you back in next year if you improve the economy. If the economy improve as a result of your strategies. Or whatever measures that you implement. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. That is it for me for today. I am sorry that the feed fell so many times as a result of my laptop, guys. I'm really, really sorry. I have, as I tell you before, and Betsy, I'm not going to speak ill of my laptop. It has done, as best it could under the circumstances, because it's, like I said, a very poor quality laptop, and I have been working it, as you see, doing YouTube live and so forth on it, and really it can't manage. So that's why it crashed twice today, deteriorating it is. But I give God thanks that I still have a laptop to use, right? In everything you give thanks, absolutely. So I'm thankful and grateful I was able to still complete the program today. Yay! Thank you, Lord. Amen. And so I've come to the end of the program. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me see my thumbs up. Give me my thumbs up, guys. Thank you for my new subscribers. Again, I thank you. Thank you for watching, all of you. Thank you for sharing the link with your friends and family. I do appreciate that. Remember, guys, knowledge is nothing if kept to oneself. Knowledge must be shared. Knowledge must be applied. And so I thank you for sharing the information with your friends and family. And I'm looking forward to more subscribers, right? And more viewers. Okay, guys. And I thank you. Remember, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where you can also go like, comment, and share. Omega News JA. Thank you so much for watching. Guys, you've heard the news today. Persons are not practicing the health protocols that have been laid out by the government. Regardless of how you feel about the government, guys, right? This is, as you can see, it's a worldwide pandemic. It's a Jamaica pandemic, it's a worldwide pandemic. And you see where our borders are open to persons who are coming in from countries where it is very high incidence of COVID-19. And so when they come, guys, and we have Jamaicans all over the world, we are all over the world. And when we come into the island and we interact with our loved ones without wearing our masks, right? And not practicing physical distancing, we can infect them like it would happen with a 1-year-old. So guys, I'm imploring you, you see what's happening with regard to places like Devon House and this place where they're hosting parties. And it's not only about the after curfew hour, because this particular person was saying that it was before curfew hours, but they were still wrong and they don't see where they were wrong. The sad part about it, they don't see where they were wrong, because he was saying that they're practicing the health protocols. However, when the people come inside, right, they're not taking off the mask to eat and drink, and that is exactly the reason the measures were put in place in the first instance, because they understand that you cannot eat and drink in a mask. That's a given, you see, and that is why they were so reluctant in opening up the restaurants and the bars, etc. Yeah, and then you're here having a party. That means, and by the very nature of parties, you can't be 6 feet apart. Yeah. And so here it is. If you take off your mask to eat and drink and you're in close proximity to the other person, then what you do, you're infecting that person, because you could be asymptomatic for all you know. You don't know. Yeah. And this is what is happening, guys. So be careful out there. Practice physical distancing. We don't say you're not supposed to socialize, but until we have full control of this pandemic, where the chain is broken and there's no more COVID-19, you have to practice certain protocols, and that includes wearing your mask when you're in public among people, right? Protecting the portal of entry and the portal of exit, and you have to make sure that you're physically apart from the other person 6 feet, they say, because they know that the spittle, but I mean, you're speaking, that only sneezing and coughing. When you're speaking, you have spittle that is flying out of your mouth. It's natural, yeah. And so these virus, they say, travels with droplets. So until proven otherwise, that's what we know. Okay, that's what we're working with. And so, guys, when you're out there, you've got to practice, and of course, washing your hands, infection control measures, because you could touch somebody who has, the virus, and you go now and you put your hand over your nose or your mouth without washing your hands first, and then here it is, you are infected, right? So guys, you got to practice infection control measures and keep your surfaces clean, because you can touch somewhere also. We don't know, studies have not confirmed how long the virus survives on a surface. So you could touch a surface with the virus on it and then wash your hands, and then you touch your face, and then you're infected, guys. Think about these things. Think on these things, yeah? Yeah. All right, guys. Of course, it's very important that you show love and compassion to your fellow men as you're out there physically distancing yourself from each other. You must be social. Hi, hello. My grandmother always said howdy and thank you, Burton Square, as the people passing people on the road and in close proximity. But because they're wearing their mask, not even a hi, your hand works. You can say hi. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So be sociable, guys, with your fellow men. All right, love and show love and compassion, and that's what my kids say, show compassionate discretion. Absolutely, right. Be tolerant of each other, love and support each other. That's what our Father wants of us. Yeah, our Creator. Absolutely. All right, guys. So until I see you tomorrow, again, we'll do it all over at 12 noon, God willing. This is JJ, Woman Without Borders, saying, stay blessed and be a blessing. Love you. Bye.